Go ahead, I'm sorry.
One of the statements you made was that it's not unusual to have an unmodified report, but to have a clean report as well. What do you attribute that to? Just having it so clean, a clean report? Is it because you've been with us or we've been with you for a while and we know what I mean, you tell me.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it has any. I think it has more to do with the experience of the people at the district and the departments, the expertise. I can't think of another district that has as many licensed CPAs on staff, which is great, because they have the training and the background and the experience to know, okay, how should an organization operate? What policies and procedures and controls need to be in place to make sure there's adequate segregation of duties, that it's not, you're not having to trust someone, there's a system and a process in place that's gonna prevent any type of misstatement, whether by accident or on purpose.
We have had a finding in the past,
Not all
where,
of it.
where somebody coded something on the grant fund to the
And it was-
wrong payroll
but it was-
account number was used or something.
2007.
Inadvertent, but still.
Was it time and effort, or?
But,
Okay.
I would say to kind of answer that too, as being a board member as long as I have, and understanding doing audits in the past, a lot of it is attributed to understanding the controls and adhering to them. And when there are changes that are done, I know that this team adhere to them quickly, so we don't let things get out of control, that we need to put them back. And we know that as board members as well, because some of the things that we tend to do, that we find out because we have new board members, some things we're finding out along the way, we're saying, wait a minute, what's our standard for doing that? And, just with our operating procedure, trying to make sure that our processes align with what the controls are of the district has been a good, take on that. So I think that, we're doing pretty well. And as far as for asking the question, having the relationship so long, I think a couple of years ago, we talked about relationships with the firms, but understanding the audit process, that the same person doesn't always audit you each and every time.
Yes,
So that's really, there's no way around it, because when you get I don't think I've ever met you before.
We talked about that a little
Yeah,
earlier.
I was
This is his first
I was
year.
looking through, I was like, I don't remember you, but understanding that process as well, that when fresh eyes come in, they are seriously fresh eyes. There is no such thing as, okay, by the way, these are the things that you need to look for, because, we're all familiar with the audit process. So I would say that it's because I know for a fact that we are always looking at those controls and making sure that we're at the right standard level. And I can say that, I'm saying that from, on the board side, because I think initially coming on, I had many questions to also know that, because of my understanding of audits, so, looking pretty good.
And I asked the question because it's, a public meeting, and I'm sure there's, public wants to know that.
Right.
Well, well, how did they do that?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a
We have
question.
a lot of really picky procedures that drive people crazy.
Absolutely.
I've been on that side of it. There's lots of
Requiring
control.
Absolutely.
signatures
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
What do you mean I can't spend?
supporting documentation
Absolutely.
and,
Which
all the bid laws we're required to comply with that really get tedious.
None of us
But-
wanted to make the walk of shame to the accounting department to explain why.
You didn't find this receipt.
One quick example of that is when we wanted to go out for the board attorney, we wanted to be very careful that we were not going outside the range of what was the norm. We wanted to make sure that everything was tailored to that, so that we didn't have any gaps or anything in that. So I think it's just having that consciousness of, wait a minute, how have we done it in the past? Are we still in the right vein and keeping with that? So
And you got the best in the business down there.
yes, we do.
Yes.
You do.
We know we do, absolutely,
You do.
absolutely.
I'm heartbroken by the way.
Absolutely. So-
And I can remember as an employee, sitting with Grace going over state comp ed funds that I was in charge of, and I had to say, okay, slow down. I don't know it by 25.48, or you're gonna have to tell me what section that is. So, and you did.
That goes a long ways towards obviously these
A
things.
high level of integrity, attention to detail, and making sure that procedures are followed.
And can I also add that to get a clean audit, it doesn't just happen with this, it happens with people doing their own internal audits frequently, and I know that you guys do that as well.
And holding people accountable to
Yeah.
follow the procedures,
Yeah.
which y'all do very well.
And this is not really just accounting, it's really the whole
It's
district.
across the board,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, human resource, tax office, purchasing, warehouse, MIS, tax service, everyone.
Yeah, including the secretaries that maintains them, because they're constantly watching those
And
budgets.
nutrition, yes, actually, they do interview each department and go through the procedures.
Alrighty. So, are there any other questions?
I'm glad we have all these procedures in place. I think it keeps,
Sometimes it's nerve wracking, but it's worth it, it's worth it on this.
It's good. Helps us sleep at night.
So just real quick, a little tad bit about the fund balance again. You know, we pointed that out, it went up.